What's up, beautiful people? It's the Boujee Oracle Goddess, and I'm going to be doing an overview today about a couple of cards. This video in particular will be about the Devil card. There's always seeming to be a lot of areas of, maybe you want to call it like a love-hate relationship with the Devil card. And I'm going to do some explaining about the Devil card just a little bit and just give you guys a reason to possibly look at the Devil card in a different way. Let's go. Okay, as promised, I want to talk a little bit about the Devil card. But first, before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about the different depictions in different decks in which it could come. So, for example, this Devil card here, it looks a little not so scary, or not so tragic, or not so intrusive. This one here has more of an ethereal goddess, I am the shit type visual. This one has more of the I don't know, I think it's more of like a what people sometimes depict the devil being in flame in hell, that type of thing. So here we have three different depictions based on the creator's artistic view. And this is another one. This is one of my favorite decks, and this is one of my favorite decks. As you all see, you can have the more, what you consider kind of to be the dark side of the cards. And then here's another one. This is one of my favorite decks as well. I don't use this as much, but as I go along, you'll be able to see why I kind of like this one. Then you have the regular Rider-Waite's depiction of it. I want to talk a little bit about the card. So the Devil card really has more than anything to do with you're only being limited by what you believe is your possibility. So that means that if you think you're in bondage, in chains, etc., I want to give you an example. If you look at this card here, you will see the chain around the man and the woman, right? They actually have a chain around their neck, but it's so loose they could actually escape if they want to. It's about a bondage per se that could be around things like either detachment from different things. If it's in the reverse, it could be about freedom, wanting freedom, needing freedom, getting away from someone, etc. It could also be about simplistic things. You have things holding you down. Say, for instance, if you're a heavy spender, shopaholic, or you just kind of do things impulsively, instead of being more simplistic, you would like for your life to be that, but you have these things that are holding you down and bonding you to stuff, right? Or to people. You can even have so much as, attachments to people. You could also be a codependent person, right? In an upright position, it could have the meaning of and also bondage, a feeling like you're in bondage, etc., or having someone then at space, materialism, just that Prada bag, the Gucci shoes, the Fendi, etc. Not that those are bad things, but I'm just saying you go for materialistic type things, the looks of cars. Maybe you can afford a Honda, but you go out and you get it in Fendi. Know that your budget can't handle that, right? That is a form of bondage to something because you've taken on more than what you really should have, just for the look of it, the status quo of things, right? It's also about addiction. So if you look at this card here, you have the alcohol in the bag. This represents food, addiction to foods and monies and things that don't serve us, etc. As if the devil has a hold on you, you feel a bondage. She's got the cigarette, right? Like, oh my God, how do I get out of this? Like, this is ridiculous. You think it's a hold, but you could easily remove yourself per se from the grip. But a lot of times we just won't do it. We just don't do it. And the devil can represent things, for example, the hand. It's about leaving our spirit open to find what's good or what's bad. That's the open hand. What's good, what's bad. There's a balance, the light, the dark, You got your two figures here. Now, this card only has one, but this one has two. The others, they don't have either anything or one. But we're going to go basically for explanation purposes about the cards per se, even though they are different because of the creators made them different. We're going to go by the Rider-Waite. We're going to use these examples because it depicts the most general, most common look that you see in different decks. So also we're going to talk about the star, in which is in the hand, the down, where's the star in this one? Okay, we don't have it in this one, but we got the star here. Oh, the star is here. The star is here. This per se is within the star. This one doesn't have it, and the star here. Okay, so we're going to kind of be focusing on the ones where I can, point things out to you. The star, for instance, the downward facing pentagram. That's a warning to all, negative energy that can hold you back. That's all it's about. It's about the energy that could hold you back. Be mindful of that. So you'll have energy from your own self, people around you, which is the reason why saging is good, and Palo Santo and other things that are good. Intentions are good for you to be mindful that it's not necessarily something coming to pass. It's about your energetic attention that you put on things, right? And things like the bat wings. Use your senses. See past something holding you back. See past that. You can move forward. The wings are used to fly. This wings depicts it in such a beautiful way, right? That if you want to move from that, you have the wings. Use those wings. Put them in motion. It's really important that you really think about when someone is giving you a reading, and based on what your life is about. If they're depicting mostly dark to you, that's probably just because readers read differently, right? But I want to give you just kind of some tools to arm yourself on what the card really means, so that when you get the reading, you're like, oh, okay, that's what that means. And when they're giving you explanation about things, you know what that's about, right? Okay, let's talk about like the little devil horns. This one has horns. Don't really see any on that one. There's some there, and of course in this one there is some as well. This card doesn't have it. That's a more flagrant, I like to call it, card for the devil for this particular deck, which works. This deck works pretty much with like flowers and vines, and you're gonna have even the devil card in it, but it's just depicting it a different way, right? So we'll stick with the ones that are kind of most common as far as what they look like. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So let's keep going. The horns. Okay, everything within you that is wild and unrefined. So you have a wild streak in your things. It's unrefined. Like you need to polish yourself, do some shit differently. Like concentrate on the good. It's not always about the bad, even though it's the devil. You could feel things preventing you from moving forward, etc. So then that card comes up, you think about that. Sometimes you'll see like the black cube, which is the unexplored self. Like this is, the chains are attached to this cube here, right? So you'll see that in different cards. It's like, okay, what is going on here? The cube would be more on the floor for her. She's standing on it. So it would be more about, okay, what areas of my life do I need to actually explore that I'm not exploring? I'm holding back, feel something is holding me back, people holding me back, situations holding me back. So you think, but that does not necessarily mean that that is the case, but that is what the card depicts. But as you is looking outside the box based on the information with the other cards that are given to you as well. Okay. The devil's torch per se. So here's a torch here. There are torches all around there. That's lit up. So we're going to call the different little torches in the background there. This one doesn't actually have it. So when we're looking at the devil's torch, that's about bringing into light, bringing into darkness, or understanding the positive and negative. I just spoke on the balance of that. The devil card is about balancing. Can I get away? Do I want to stay? Am I addicted? Do I want to move away from addiction? So you have to think about those things as well. Let's see what else. The two figures. So that's more or less about like, how do we get caught up in how do we get caught up in like things people expect out of relationships, choices. Like she's like, oh, I need you. Codependency. You remember I talked about that. But we're going to do this together. You need to also have spaces of yourself where if you're in a relationship, you have things that you do together. And you have things that you don't do together. You grow apart when you start to smother one another, right? So that addiction to others, that addiction to situations, like you want to be seen for this, and that's not really who you are. So you keep putting on that air, and that can really detour your elevation of one's own self. So you want to be mindful of that. Sometimes on these cards, they have things like the tails. If they do, that has to do with taming your nature and finding your, who you are. So we got the tails here on the two individuals. And these others, they don't have it. Okay, so you just want to, yeah, you just, oh, this is the tail wrapped around here. So you just want to be mindful that that has to do with our animal instinct, our nature to step up and do shit. Like if you had a child and something, a car was coming down the street and you saw the baby running after the ball, and instinctively you jump up because in your peripheral you can see something coming. The baby can't see it because they're so focused on the ball, right? So instinctively doing things, we have that animal instinct to jump into action, into mode, when we're not being held down. So it's really important that you be mindful of what are you allowing to hold you down? What are you allowing to hold you back? What are you willfully walking into that you can see like, this is not a good choice, and you do it anyway? So there's consequences to that, or it's part of your journey to experience that. It could be one or the other, and a little bit of both as well. So I just wanted to come on and give you guys an explanation of the devil card. And it's usually attached to the earth sign, Saturn, Capricorn, etc. It also can depict things, for example, like putting someone on a pedestal. Like, be mindful of who you put on a pedestal. Everyone does not deserve to be on a pedestal. Remember that sometimes it's about our journey, and we're supposed to experience some things. Some things we have control over, some things we don't, right? Just take some time for yourself when this card comes up and fully getting rid of things that don't serve you, that have negative bounds. Set boundaries for people with negative energy. Are you stepping into something that you shouldn't be? Saying no is healthy. Being selfish with one's time is healthy, okay? Another thing is about being greedy about specific things. Now, that is subjective because you are allowed to manifest things in your life, right? So some people look at money, and people that are rich, they have people who are not rich or are in a space of lack can look at people who are in abundance, and what you do, you can push abundance away from you because you have a negative view about money. So you want to be mindful of that. Also, things like temptation. Be mindful of being tempted by things that not going to serve you. But if you just want the experience of it, fine, but don't get addicted. So that's kind of what the devil card represents as well. It's kind of a twofold, that double-edged sword. You want to be mindful of that, right? You should, if you're feeling trapped, you're in a space of the devil card, right? So you just want to be mindful not to get in a space of allowing that energetic negative, people call it the devil. I won't get into whether that is true or not, but yeah. You just want to be mindful. And also with the man and the woman, most of the time you see them pretty much either, like for this card, she's scantily dressed. This card, they have no clothes on. Are they afraid of being less of who you really should be, showing up and showing the fuck out? Be mindful that you are supposed to be doing that during this lifetime. These are parts of your journey as we learn and move along. Excuse me, guys. As we learn and move along, should I be doing this? Yes or no? Sometimes it's not yes or no. It's kind of like, well, maybe a little bit of this, right? Everything is not always a yes or no answer. There are things that can be on the fence because if you move this direction, there are, what do you call it? There are things that you can experience, right? This direction. If you move the other direction, there's also experiences. I couldn't think of the word that I want to come, so that's what we're going to use for that. So just be mindful that when the devil card comes up, it's not a really bad thing. This is just depicting where you are energetically in a space. It's about something, or it could be someone in your space, or it could be specifically about you. I want to thank you guys for watching the video. Please like, and if you like, subscribe. It's been a beautiful journey as I have my spiritual team moving towards making these videos and me being obedient and listen. When I say obedient, I'm talking about this is about my soul's growth to do this, and everyone has a journey as well to do this. So just be mindful and move accordingly. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Have a beautiful holiday. We're in the week of Christmas coming up. If you celebrate that, the holiday or the season of giving, to each other, which we should be doing that all the time. But this is where the excessiveness comes in. Are we being bound by things to get all these toys for your children when really they're only going to pay with a few of those? So you go into debt for that. That is being bound. That is bondage. That is an addiction for you to think every year you have to do that, right? If you start out doing it and you don't do it every year, that's a beautiful thing. Pick a few things that your kids, you get for them every year throughout the year. So just be mindful of these habits that you start that can put you in a space of now you bound and you have bondage to financial imbalances now, because now you have to pay that out if that's your case, you know, if you're in a space of lack. So everyone, have a wonderful day. It's been amazing. Take care.